John Smoltz, Hall of Famer, Baseball on Fox lead analyst, and he was on the call with Joe Davis for the ALDS. Blue Jays, Yankees in the booth for the Mariners and Jays got underway last night. First pitch tonight, Game 2 from Toronto at, I think, 5:03 Eastern on Fox. Before I get to the baseball, we were just talking about respected bands, great bands that you don't like. And Seton came up with The Who. Fritzy doesn't like Springsteen or Dylan and the Beatles. Marvin, who was your pick? Jimi Hendrix? Paulie?
Pink Floyd.
Pink Floyd. What about you, John? Respected band that you don't like?
You know, I'm not much of a follower of that of bands. You know, I grew up, as you know, playing the accordion. Take it or leave it, Weird Al Yankovic.
Okay.
You know, I mean, he's would make fun of the accordion. He was brilliant, actually. But I don't know. I hear a lot of people talk about Black Eyed Peas, but I'm not a good guy to really ask when it comes to bands. I don't follow anybody, to be honest.
When's the last time you played the accordion?
I tried to play it at my daughter's wedding in May. I was gonna. We have a famous chicken dance song that we play every wedding. My daughter did a great job in renting me. She found an accordion. You can't find them anymore, and the key was stuck, so you couldn't play it. So it either saved me, or, but that would have been the last time. It's been a long time.
Is that the na 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 na?
That's the song we kind of grew up on, actually.
All right, let's talk baseball here now. You've seen Seattle and the Blue Jays. I was surprised Seattle won that game, considering 15 innings, going cross country, travel issues, and a Toronto team that seemed to be on fire from what happened with the Yankees. What was the big difference, do you think, last night?
Well, the big difference was Toronto's offense didn't get on base a lot, and other than the first inning, Bryce Miller had one of the greatest games I think you'll ever see a young man pitch, given the circumstances. Look, this is a hard team to face, and especially at home. We saw the Yankees get absolutely obliterated on great pitching by the Yankees, just made it look like they'd never pitched before. So I was a little bit surprised that Seattle was able to hang in there on adrenaline alone. I've been part of those long 18-inning game, come back, try to play, a day and a half later. It takes its toll. But as I said on the telecast, if they can hang in there, adrenaline gets you through the rest of that game. And Bryce Miller was a batter or two away from this being an ugly game, and it turned into an epic game because he had first pitch home run, then runners on first and second, one out, and that's when the crowd in Toronto and their offense gets going, and they never got another run. I don't think anyone could have predicted that.
When do you know to take out a pitcher, if it's just mathematically with pitches? Or, I mean, how much is gut feeling, talking to the catcher, getting a sense of something more than just the analytics say, I got to pull you?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that gets overlooked is the swings the hitters are putting on the pitcher. I don't think they look at it as a direct response. They'll look at analytic spin or velocity, or just basically say third time through, I'm not even going to let him get there. And I think the managers that in this postseason have let their player have a moment is winning the games, meaning pitchers that are going into the eighth inning are winning. Pitchers that get taken out by fourth or fifth inning, you start rolling the dice. And I'll be honest, the Seattle Mariners are here because the greatest pitcher of our generation was only able to go 6 innings. If he goes 7 innings, I don't think you can make an argument that Seattle would be here. So they benefited from all that work that they put in to foul off pitches and get his pitch count up. I was watching that game. I was shocked. But based on the year, he's never pitched over 105 pitches. So Seattle is a benefactor from what Toronto does very well and make your pitch count go way up.
The Dodgers have been relying on their starters, but it feels like they have to because of that bullpen.
Absolutely. It's a total flip of the script. Last year, they had no starters that they could count on, so they relied on their bullpens guys, and they used them, and just really all of them got hurt. And now they've established such a depth that is working in their favor that you're seeing guys like Blake Snell, first time ever ever getting in the seventh inning in a postseason game. I mean, that to me is like shouldn't be a narrative, but it is. And I think now you're seeing again pitchers. At one point, it was 12-1. The pitcher that went longer than the other pitcher, they won the game. I know lately it's been a couple losses, but I think teams are going to have to trust their starters and know that they are having a moment and don't look. I'll give you 162 analytical reasoning and philosophy. I'll give it to you. 162. It doesn't apply in a best of five and a best of seven. It doesn't. It's just it doesn't work that way. And when you don't adhere, when you don't deviate, you're really running the risk of that 162 model not working in a best of seven because you never know if that one guy is going to be on that exceeds what he would do in the regular season. If you never give him that moment, I think you miss out.
What were your thoughts on Dave Roberts leaving Clayton Kershaw in or having him come back for that next inning?
Yeah, I mean, I saw it from afar. I thought that, Clayton Kershaw, what a moment. I just can't even imagine the adrenaline and the rush that he was going through knowing his career's over. And he's had a couple of those weird innings in postseason in his history. It really is hard to explain. But I think for Dave Roberts and everything that he believes and trusts that his team, and that was a 2-0 situation, right? If it's 2-1, I think the things are different. I know you say, oh, it's just one game, but in a short series, that could mean the difference. I think he trusted what his team was capable of doing, even if that didn't go well, and it certainly didn't. And it proved that the next game they were able to handle and get that win.
Do you think, like there's certain trends, and we've spoken about this, that you go in and throw as hard as you can for as long as you can, then next man up. That's basically pitching. But when it comes to hitting, are we going to find more teams with their best player leading off with success with Ohtani, Kyle Schwarber? I don't know if you have other teams that come to mind that we're going to hit you right away. I'm going to get more at bats with my guy.
And that's where I kind of differ philosophically. 162, I get it. You might get 35 to 40 more at bats than your best player, and that might win you 1 to 2 to 3 baseball games, which could be the difference for some teams. In the postseason, I still don't get that because now you're not running the same models in a best of seven series. How many more at bats is Ohtani going to get if it goes 7 versus the second hitter? And is that going to be enough to help him win a game? Now, Ohtani's a freak. Let's leave him alone. He's the leadoff hitter. He can hit for power. He can steal. But let's just talk about Schwarber, not getting him in RBI situations. You look at Toronto and how they're built. Guerrero bats in the 3 spot. It's perfect for him. Imagine if Guerrero, their best hitter, or Bo Bichette, their best hitters, leading off. Now, all of a sudden, in a short series as a pitcher, I have an advantage, I think, over their best hitter because he's not going to come up with too many times with runners in scoring position. So 162, again, I get it. I've never understood it in a best of 5, but that's the thing they never change. So if you do it the whole regular season, you're going to do it in the postseason. And that's like splitting hairs a little bit for me. But you imagine Barry Bonds today, he would be leading off. Thank you. Thank you. For a guy who gave up 9 home runs, thank you. Lead off home run. I don't care. Like, those are the kind of things that in the postseason, when you're not giving your best hitter the chances to get with runners on over the course of a season, that's my only argument about that narrative that works in the 162, like Aaron Judge batting second. He batted third a lot. But Aaron Judge is another great example of putting him in a spot to have fear factor for runners on. And I get it. 9 guys, you start your lineup the way you want, and then it never works that way the rest of the game. I understand that.
Has anybody ever asked you to autograph a ball that you gave up for a home run? Like the hitter? Has any hitter asked you to autograph?
Don't believe so. No.
So that's a no-go that you don't do?
I would have done it. Oh, I would have done it for sure.
So Bonds said, hey, I hit this one off of you. Would you autograph this?
Oh, sure. Now, I've seen the flip where Bonds, at the All-Star game, some pitcher came to ask him for an autograph, and he said, heck no, you hit me twice. I ain't signing nothing.
We're working on some Hall of Fame resumes. Dale Murphy, Steve Garvey, Don Mattingly.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Anybody else? Steve Garvey was a 10-time All-Star, John.
Yeah. No, Steve Garvey was I mean, when I think of the Dodgers, I think of Steve Garvey when I grew up watching, the 70s and the early 80s. But they're all worthy, and I'm partial, obviously, to Dale Murphy and what he did and how he did it with such bad baseball teams. I mean, that's one thing that people don't take into consideration. Then, of course, you got Andrew Jones coming up, who I think is surefire Hall of Fame player, who's yet to get in. But Don Mattingly is one of the guys that everybody who from New York talks about and how good he was, and if he could have stayed healthier, the numbers he would have put up, he would have thrived in today's era. And that argument goes, I'll argue anybody that the Tony Gwynns, the guys who did not hit for power could have thrived today because they don't swing, from their derriere, and they would get on base a lot more.
But they would be swinging differently, John, because they would be brought up differently. Tony Gwynn would be
True.
brought up, you got to swing hard. Wade Boggs, Rod Carew. Unfortunately, they would be told, hey, this is what the analytics say.
True, unless they have this special gift like an arise. We're seeing a shift. It's slow, but the Toronto Blue Jays and the Milwaukee Brewers are not flukes on why they're here. They put the ball in play. They don't strike out. If you look at the last 25 World Series champions, you're not going to find 3 of them that are in the top 10 in my memory that were leading the league in strikeouts or in top 10 in strikeouts. It's hard to do. I know home runs are king, and I get it. But when you can combine the both, which Toronto does and Milwaukee does, it changes how team plays against you. It changes the narrative of you're going to have to work harder to get Toronto Blue Jays from eliminating them from the series.
Yeah, I've been saying that. Put the ball in play, get a walk, take an extra base, steal like all of these different things. And Milwaukee has done that. They don't have star power, but it feels like they're going to always be testing you. And they're not waiting for a big inning. It's just it's death by water torture. It's going to be drip,
No doubt.
drip, 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 drip.
No doubt. And we've already seen a game. And unfortunately, the young, pitcher for Philadelphia, when you put the ball in play, you never know what's going to happen. But when you swing and miss, you know what's going to happen. And it's nothing. And again, 162, they don't care how many strikeouts there are. But in a postseason game, man on third, I've seen it. We've seen the 15-inning game. Just make contact, game over. Couldn't do it. And I think for Milwaukee, that's what makes them special. And they run, they field, they have great arms, and they basically have drafted players that fit the narrative of how they're going to play. And that's why there is not one expert, not one baseball expert said Milwaukee would have the best record in baseball leaving spring training. Not one.
Did you cry at your daughter's wedding?
I did not. But I tell you, it was, I had 2 of them this year, so one more coming up in November. But I definitely, if I would have cried if I'd have played the accordion, probably.
See, I got 3 daughters. There is no way I can get through this without crying. No way.
Well, I've been very fortunate to have some really good son-in-laws, and that helps.
And maybe you didn't care about your daughters as much as I care about mine. So you're kind of emotional.
Good point.
Yeah. You were happy to get them out of the house. I get it. I understand it, John. I understand it. Hey, have fun on the call. Tell Joe we said hello, and thanks for joining us.
I will. Thanks, Dan.
All right. Thanks. John Smoltz, 1995 World Series champ with the Braves, and, of course, Hall of Famer. First pitch tonight, Game 2 from Toronto, 5:03 Eastern on Fox. We'll take a break. Last call for phone calls, what we learned, what's in store tomorrow. This day in sports history after this.